welcome to the AMA Corner. I'm here with CCP Veritas and his daughter. We're going to do a short AMA. I'm going to ask him some amazing questions that have been posted on the forums, and he's going to do his best to answer them while I do my best to understand his answers. Because
I'm looking forward to this.
He's a lot smarter than me when it comes to all this stuff. We have some interesting questions here. Some were kind of like missed the mark, or art questions and game design questions. So if I don't ask your question, then it's probably because it just doesn't fit what CCP Veritas here does at CCP.
Or maybe he just doesn't like you.
That is also a possibility. So let me see. Start off with a semi-bad one, but like Deathboy Jack asks, have you ever thought about setting Jade up to 0% tie-dye to annoy people? I think that's going to be a short answer.
Yes. Every day. Yes.
So we'll follow that up with a question from Alejandro Rebenca. Do or did you play EVE Online? If yes, how was your first year of playing? Example given, did you Care Bear a lot or whatnot?
Yes and yes. I did and I do. I started in 2006 with EVE Online, care bearing a lot. Started with mining, as I think a lot of people do. Quickly found out through this thing we call the internet, where you can find information. That mission running was more profitable. Me being a very efficiency-minded individual, I immediately switched my focus. I think I'm at like 9.99 with Caldari Navy, like something crazy like that. I ground a lot of missions. Still do. It feels like meditation to me now. Like I don't even need the money. It's just like I'm gonna go turn some red X's into cash. It's fun.
Yeah, good answer. So is it too soon? This is from Salpun. Is it too soon to hear about the results from the server updates besides shortened downtime? What can you tell us? And he also has another part, which is...
I'll answer that one first.
Yeah, all right.
I know Salpun. It's probably 3 or 4 different parts, and they're probably all very good, so we will get to them. But the first one is talking about the load balancer update, I assume. That's from Prismex, I believe is his name.
Yes.
I only know his actual name, but you know, his CCP name. About the cluster load balancing update. And it is not too soon to talk about that. I can talk about that right now. That was a very good success. Now, that was mainly driven from just in general, we were using the Constellation as the load balancing unit for most of the cluster. And when we got into a situation where we had a lot of people who wanted to be in a single system a lot, constantly, this was Osman when we announced the new sister ships. The load balancer didn't handle that very well because it could not split up that constellation. And being that it was a mission running kind of thing, the load was not only in that one system, but all the neighboring ones. So the constellation as a whole was very expensive. So we split that up now, and now it's at a system granular level, which now allows it to split where it makes sense instead of at the constellation level. For instance, Osman now is on its own node pretty much every day just because of the load balancer learning that it should. So that was a fantastic success, and he did great work. I had not much to do about it. Delegation's a lovely thing.
The second thing in Salpan's questions is, a dev post has confirmed that a team is in active development on Brain in a Box. Was the server updates the stuff that needed to be done first, or is there another project out there that is almost ready to be deployed that you were working on? How is Brain in a Box looking?
Okay. Trace back those few things. Right. The load balancer change had really nothing to do with Brain in a Box. Like I said, that just came to how we distribute the systems around the cluster. Brain in a Box, for those who aren't aware, is the project that I've now had in flight for almost 2 years to redo how skills are applied to your character and ship and whatnot in EVE Online. It's currently a very inefficient process, and this is why jumping around a large fleet or say Jeddah, which is a very high traffic system, has very high load. There is a team that is working on that. Like I said, I started that about 2 years ago. It was in a summer project, so it would have been about 1.5 years because it sure isn't summer now. And quickly came to the realization that the core of that system's name is Dogma, that tracks attributes in EVE Online, like how many hit points a ship has or how many skill points your skill book has. Just couldn't really deal with the idea of computing skills elsewhere on the cluster. It fundamentally could not handle that concept. So I was faced with the choice of either implementing it anyway and just kind of muscling through it, making it uglier, or redo that core foundation. And I chose to redo that core foundation. That's coming along fairly well. Through some unfortunate circumstances, it's still in progress, and some fortunate circumstances, for instance, me being promoted to technical director.
Congratulations!
Yay! I don't program much anymore.
It's a sad day for programmers all across the world.
Nah, it's a good day.
A hero has fallen.
Oh. Anyway, so that is coming. I can't put a date on it, but I know Salpon, he'll keep tuned because he is who he is.
All right, so next, do you prefer McDonald's over KFC? General Frisian asks.
Well, that's a very simple one for me. As you know, and probably not very many people, I am fatally allergic to chicken.
So I'm thinking McDonald's.
McDonald's. Now, the only thing they have that I can eat is fries, but the fries are pretty darn good.
All right, all right. So what is your favorite animal and why?
Not chicken. No, my favorite animal is pig because they're tasty.
And you can eat them.
Yes.
Without dying.
Yes, because I know chicken's tasty too, but
yes,
only very briefly.
So here's a decent one from Havaside. Toughest part of your job and easiest part of your job?
That is a tough question. So I'm going to say the toughest part of my job is answering this question.
Ooh.
And the easiest part of my job, would probably have to be lunch hour when I play games.
All right. Vestus Regula says, other than changes announced in CCP Prism's latest devlog, what are CCP plans to reduce lag, make EVE able to hold even bigger blobs in the same system?
Right, so...
Fix the lag!
Fix the lag! Oh, yes. OMG, Veritas, fix the lag. The biggest one is the brain-in-the-box system that I was just talking about, because not only does that affect jumping, but also when you switch ships, all of your skills get torn down and brought back up. And it may not occur to most people, but for instance, when you switch from your ship to a pod, when your ship explodes, that's a switch of ships.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing. So that will help that kind of thing a lot. For instance, if you've been in large engagements, you know when bombs happen, tie-dye spikes pretty vigorously. That's all the people switching into pods. It's a vast majority of that load. In addition to that, we have a project that has not been started, but I'm hoping that team can get to it after Dogma's in a good place. Yeah. For dealing with the dispatching of physics events.
Okay.
So the physics simulation in EVE is very fast and lightweight. It's spheres and a fluid. It's pretty simple stuff. But telling everybody about all that has happened is a very large chunk of load in large fights. And thankfully is a problem that multiprocessing handles well.
Okay. Thanks for that answer. So here's one from Darina Nafil. What do you prefer, PvP, PvE, or PvA, player versus asteroids?
I prefer PvE. I'm a massive Care Bear.
Yes.
The irony of the massive Care Bear fixing leg is not lost on me. I think that's
pretty
fantastic.
Funny. Can Goon Sinobate bring his Drake? Is that allowed?
Yes, you can absolutely bring your Drake. It's the best ship in EVE Online. It's not true.
All right, Lux Harrison?
I have a special part in my heart for the Drake.
Yes, of course, everybody does.
I'm a graduate of Drake University.
Oh, I'm not.
It's literally true.
Lux Harrison says Beatles or Stones?
Beatles.
If you haven't seen CCP Manifest's post, I recommend you check it out. Check out the awesome video from CCP Veritas in there. And he asks, do you have laser lights and fog machines for everything you do, or is it just programming for the Alliance tournament?
Just programming for the Alliance tournament. As you could see in that video, the fog machine made me need to hit my inhaler, so I'm not going to keep one around at all times.
Yeah. All right. So, has CCP... Nope, that's not a good question. Sir
So
Scamalot
judgmental.
Says,
let me AMA you. Why are you so judgmental?
I'm sorry. Some people are just asking the wrong questions.
Fair enough.
Sorry. So, will we ever be able to have large fights, say 250 versus 250 or more, without the soul-crushing tie-dye in the near future?
Soul-crushing tie-dye.
Yes.
It completely depends on how you define large and how you define near. I would say for most 250 by 250, depending on your luck with the load balancer, which should have just gotten a lot better, that should be pretty good these days. If you send in a notification through the Fleet Fight notification tool on the community website, I can, with some exceptions, be very pleased with the idea of a 500-person fight being completely tie-dye free. Beyond that, like I said, those two projects that we've got, one in the works and one waiting in the wings, I think are going to have a very major impact for that situation.
So here's one question from Christmas Titan Port, and he uses some terms there that I don't understand.
Just read the
But
words.
hopefully you'll understand, and the people at home will understand your answer. But I'll quietly sit here and with glossy eyes. What are your thoughts about EMDR, Eve Market Data Relay, and do you have any plans to provide a similar service or allow third parties to re-syndicate market data, as in GNIP/DataSift? What's the status of OAuth?
Those are words.
I don't understand.
I know most of them.
Okay. Okay.
So I personally want to have a cross exposure for market data, because the current method that we use to get market data out of the client is kind of ugly. I don't like it much. It's actually kind of a technical wart on the side of the client, and I want to clean that up. But I can't really do that without replacing it with something better. I don't know if that will be everything that they would want necessarily, but because what I'm thinking of probably wouldn't require authorization, which is what OAuth would need.
Yeah.
It would be a public endpoint, similar to the endpoints we did for the Alliance tournament last year.
Oh, yeah. I know those. I know what that did.
Yeah, so there are certainly lots of thoughts about market data and how we can get it passed around. I can't give any projections on when it'll be done, if it'll be done, or what it will look like. But we're talking about it.
All right, good to know. So here's a question from CPU939. When do you think downtime will hit 5 minutes a day?
I don't know. We're pretty close there, actually.
Yeah.
Depending on how the database is feeling and if the machines are being nice.
So
I don't know.
Phoenix Jones has a question, which I believe you touched upon earlier. Does the Eve client utilize multi-core technology? If it doesn't, will it? I'd love to ramp up my gameplay processing power by having Eve use all the cores on my CPU, therefore melting it.
Not very much. That's mostly due to most of the client logic being implemented in stackless Python, which is inherently single core. It does use some, I believe, through the rendering engine.
Yeah.
But I think that's only one additional core that gets much load. So if you got an 8 core, it's probably not doing much. There are those at CCP would probably be very happy with me saying you should utilize more cores in your PC by running more clients. Multi-accounting, always fun.
So here's a good one that I'm pretty excited to hear the answer for. Pretty Pony Princess asks, it's an awesome name, by the way.
Yes, it is.
What is your favorite Eve-related joke?
That post.
Wow.
I don't know any Eve-related jokes. If you have a favorite Eve-related joke, why don't you tweet it at me, and I'll tweet later with which one I thought was my favorite.
Yes.
At CCP Veritas, if it wasn't obvious.
Yes, and follow us both on Twitter. I am at
No,
CCP
just me. I'm
Bro.
way more interesting than bro.
That's actually probably true.
I don't tweet very much.
I just tweet meaningless stuff, but it's fun. So here's a question about tie-dye. I got halfway through it So I don't know if it's going to be
Good
great
work.
or not. Thank you. Michael Turate asks, TIDA is a very well thought out and effective rubber band solution to lag server meltdown in large fleet fights, but what is the plan for the future in terms of allowing large fleet fights to proceed in real time? Is CCP talking to hardware people, manufacturers about possible future solutions and how they could be implemented? You've already talked about the brain in the box, but is there anything from the hardware side?
Yeah, so that comes up fairly frequently, and that touches on what I was talking about for the client. Almost all of the server logic is implemented as well in stackless Python, which limits us to a single thread of execution. Now we're getting away from that in some regard with the project I was talking about that hasn't started yet. I call it Destiny Dispatcher. I talked about this at FanFest 2012. That was the year before last. To try to get the server to do more multi-core stuff. The problem with hardware these days, and it's not really a problem, but we've kind of hit the limit as far as single core execution goes. There are some things that are happening, but for the most part, the chip makers, Intel, AMD, and so forth, are focusing more on getting more cores in and having them use less power, which are really good as far as like tablets and as far as like real scientific computing and parallel processing stuff. But the type of hardware that we need to run Eve as it is right now hasn't gotten a whole lot better over the past few years. So it's I mean, of course, we talk to our hardware providers and we ask them for solutions, and we've got some good ideas on some things we can do, in particular to up our memory bandwidth and stuff like that. But I don't think hardware is going to save us very much. We need our programmers.
Yes, it's true. So I'll give you one last question. So unfortunately, we don't have time for more. This is a fun one. When will we get a wormhole with accelerated time? Like, that would be awesome.
Probably about 3 days before never. And let me explain why briefly before that man in your ear gets upset. Time dilation, which is what controls the advancement of time, is a node level construct. When I say node, it's the execution, the exe file that runs the server, the process if you go into System Explorer and whatnot. So every system that's loaded on that same server needs to have the same advancement of time. This is why when you're in null or whatnot and a fight's happening near you, time is slow in your system even though there's 3 people there, right? Because you're getting the load of the other systems on that same node. Because of that, it's unlikely we would really use time dilation as a game design mechanic. Although I will say, playing Eve at 4 times speed, super fun.
Super fun. I tried that as well. It's awesome. So thank you very much, CCP Veritas. So glad that you could come out and talk to us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you.
Wave bye-bye.
Wave bye-bye to the camera.
Wave bye-bye to the internet.
We're going to go and take a short look at the interview we did with the Red Cross real quick to remind us why we're all here and what we are raising the money for. Again, I just wanted to say you guys are amazing. You reached and smashed our wildest dreams goal of $125,000. You have so far crushed RuneScape, and the night is young, or the evening is young, the day is young, even.
I'll go with night.
Yes, but I'm looking forward to doing some more wowing over your donation. So let's roll the Red Cross video.